I almost quit this drama after 3 episodes, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I would have missed out on one of the most devastating endings I have ever seen. Moon Lover's Scarlet Heart Ryeo has a ton of flaws, but it's still very much worth it. It will make you feel everything. And the very first emotion you'll feel is pure, unfiltered rage. But stick with it, because this truly is a drama you will never forget. Let me be very clear about something up front. This show is not a romance. It's a tragedy. But for the first half of the series, it likes to cosplay as a harem romance. And it's done poorly. We start with Go Ha-jin, a modern woman who nearly drowns and wakes up in the Goryeo era in the body of Hae-soo. She's taken in by her cousin and her cousin's husband, Prince Wang Wook, and the show really wants you to believe Wook is the perfect man. Gentle, loyal, devoted, a safe place in a terrifying world. But I need to be honest with you. Wook is the worst, and somehow Hae-soo is right there with him. Because what do? They fall in love, right in front of his dying wife. Now, yes, the wife technically gives her blessing. She even suggests he marry Hae-soo. But here's the thing, that doesn't make it okay. Every time she watches them look at each other, you can see her heart breaking. And neither of them tries very hard to hide it. I mean, come on, guys. At minimum, have some discretion. And Hae-soo, she's from the modern world. She knows better. She understands exactly what she's doing, and she still goes through with it. This is someone who treats her like a daughter, and she betrays her anyway. So instead of rooting for their romance, I spent the first half of this show actively rooting against it. And that is a huge problem for a story that presents itself as a romance. Now, the only reason I didn't drop this drama entirely was Prince Wang So, the wolf dog. And when I say this man carried the first half on his back, I mean it. He is dark, brooding, dangerous, and completely magnetic. He wears a mask to hide scars given to him by his own mother. He was abandoned, used as a hostage, and grew up isolated and tortured. Every scene he's in, the energy shifts. Dark menace just bleeds from him. And as a viewer, you start wanting one thing. You want to see him smile, just once. And every time Hae-soo gets even close to breaking through that armor, those moments feel earned. They feel electric, which makes it even more frustrating because the show keeps dragging us back to Wook. And it's not just Wang So. There are so many interesting characters in this show. Eun, the bratty but lovable 10th prince. Jung, the warrior with a good heart. Baek-ah, the artist and musician. Wang Yo, treacherous, ambitious, and wearing enough eyeliner to signal villain from space. Even Yeon-hwa, the ambitious princess playing the long game for power, is fascinating. This world is full of compelling people. Political tension, sibling rivalry, power struggles, and yet we spend way too long focusing on the wrong couple falling in love. And just when I thought the show was going to stay like this, something changes. Right around the midpoint, the show pivots. Hard. Hae-soo enters Damiwon, the royal tea and cosmetics court, under the guidance of Court Lady Oh. And suddenly, this becomes a completely different drama. Now we're dealing with survival, with court politics, with manipulation, alliances, and consequences. And this is where the story finally finds its identity. Then comes the poisoning plot. A conspiracy to kill the crown prince. Wang So drinks the poison to save him, and survives. But Hae-soo, she's blamed, tortured, sentenced to death. And this is the moment where everything clicked for me, because Court Lady O, the one person guiding Hae-soo, takes the blame and chooses to die for her. This is the moment I stopped hating the drama and started respecting Hae-soo. Hae-soo spends days kneeling outside in the rain, refusing food or water, begging for mercy for her mentor. And here's the question the show asks in that moment. Who stands beside her? Not Wook, the man who claims to love her, who could have saved her, but chose not to, because protecting his family matters more. But the man everyone told her to fear, Wang So, he stands with her. He risks everything. He defies the palace. He chooses her. And in that moment, the show finally proves something. Wang So isn't just the more interesting man. He's the better one. Wook's cowardice festers into ambition. And this is where he's supposed to shine narratively. This is his villain origin story. The perfect man who falls from grace. But here's the issue. That fall only works if you believed he was good in the first place. And I didn't. So when he turns darker, when he starts conspiring, when he begins poisoning the Emperor with mercury in a slow, horrifying death that leads to madness, I didn't feel heartbreak. I felt validated. And that's a writing problem, because this should have been devastating. Meanwhile, Hae-soo and Wang So grow closer, but there's a catch. She knows the future. She knows he becomes a ruthless emperor, one who kills his brothers. And she's terrified of what he'll become. But the show does something brilliant here. It reframes history. Yes, those deaths happen, but not out of cruelty, out of necessity, out of mercy, out of survival. Wang So isn't a monster. He's a man shaped and trapped by fate. And that reinterpretation, that's one of the strongest, most fascinating elements in the entire drama. And then we reach the ending. Wang So becomes emperor, but he can't marry Hae-soo. Instead, he marries his half-sister Yeon-hwa for power. Hae-soo leaves the palace, traumatized, exhausted, broken by everything she's endured. She marries Wang So's brother, Prince Jung, but it's not love. It's friendship, safety, and survival. There, she gives birth to Wang So's child, develops a heart condition, and dies, without ever seeing him again. Before she dies, she writes him letters, begging him to come, but he never reads them, because they're addressed in his brother's handwriting. So he ignores them, and when he finally learns the truth, it destroys him. But by then, it's too late. This is the moment you realize this was never a romance, because a romance requires a happy ending, or at least a happy for now. This story doesn't give you that. It gives you tragedy. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I just wish the beginning had been honest about it. At the very end, Hae-soo wakes up in the present. She dreams of her time in Goryeo, and eventually realizes everything truly happened. And the show hints that Wang So might find her again, but it never happens. And that tiny thread of hope, that's why fans have been begging for season 2 for nearly a decade. And I get it. I would spend an entire week neglecting everything just to binge watch that. But it doesn't look like a season 2 will be happening anytime soon. So as for the rating, deciding what to give this was a struggle. If I judged the beginning, 1 out of 5. If I judged the ending, 5 out of 5. But this isn't a middle-of-the-road show. It's a show of extremes. So an average 3 out of 5 won't do. So in the end, I settled on 4 out of 5 soju bottles. Because even with its flaws, this is a story that stays with you long after you're done. And that's why I'm happy I didn't quit this drama early on. Now I need to know, were you Team Wook or Team Wook can choke? Do you think this drama earned its ending, or did it frustrate you the whole way through? Tell me in the comments. There's so much to unpack. Make sure to like and subscribe, because next week, I'm diving into the real history behind this story and comparing the drama to the actual reign of King Gwangjong. Trust me, gets even more interesting. And if you love stories about time-traveling women shaping real history, stay tuned, because up next is an audiobook clip from my novel, Beneath the Destiny Stone, where Fiona realizes her choices led to one of the weirdest real-life battles in history, the Battle of North Inch. Without further ado, enjoy.
While the monk prepared souls, David Lindsay huddled with the Chatton and Cameron chiefs. I looked from them to the warriors, to the king in his grandstand, and the oddest chill crept over me. Like déjà vu, but different. Like the last thread of a web in which we were all connected, finally fixed into place. And somehow, I was the center of it all. If I hadn't gone to meet the Chatton chief, I'd never run into David Lindsay. If I never spoke with David Lindsay, the clans wouldn't be here now. And if it weren't for the king, Sean wouldn't have brought me here in the first place.